to be back on a Sunday. I feel like this hasn't happened in a really long time. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas season. I'm so excited for the holidays to be happening right now. It just gives me so much joy, and I don't know, just that feeling that you get. It's a feeling, right? Like during Christmas, you know, as you get older, sometimes the stress can get to you about buying people gifts and this and that and the other, but I really, especially this holiday season, I'm just really trying to not let it be an anxiety-ridden time and just enjoy what's coming. Church was good today, and it went right on along with kind of what has been happening through the week as far as concepts, and you know, Pastor was just talking about not ever letting your identity rest or lie in any other person, nobody else, or any other thing, be it a job, be it a position, be it a title, be it, you know, I don't know, anything. Your identity does not lie in anything outside of what God has put inside of you. That's it. And we have the opportunity to choose to not allow our identity to be, you know, defined by any one person or any one thing. That's the beauty of being human. We have the opportunity to choose. We wake up every morning and we make the choices that are best for our life. And that's the beautiful thing about it. You know, he was just talking about protecting your space, which is an ongoing theme with this. He was just talking about, you know, not allowing any one person to completely define you as a person. I know for me, I really struggle with a heavy dose of perfectionism, and man, let me tell you, it's pretty deep. And I know that it stems a lot from childhood, and it's something I'm really working on. I'm really diving into heavy, and really trying to break those walls down, just, you know, to give myself an extra sense of peace. But I know that's something that I really struggle with, and today's message really hit home for me, because it was just saying, you know, other people's opinions of you, other people's ideas of what they think you should be, have nothing to do with who you are as a person. And even if you make a mistake, or even if you do something that someone isn't happy with, it doesn't mean that that mistake defines you. And so that's what I was able to take from it, is that just how we're not supposed to find our identity in any one person, just like we're not supposed to find our identity in any one thing, jobs, work, school, whatever, I'm not supposed to find my identity in a mistake. That's not where my identity lies. And so that's what I was really able to take from this, is just to say that, like, just because I do something, and I may have had the best of intentions, but the person who received it didn't like it, or they weren't happy with whatever was done, or whatever I did didn't make them feel good. You know, that's something that's always been a really hard pill for me to swallow. And I used to feel very inadequate if someone would come to me and share, you know, a grievance with me. And I would feel like I have to fix this right away. If I don't fix this, you know, it's just not gonna be good. They're gonna leave me, and they're never gonna love me again. Just all of these crazy thoughts that would flood my mind and make me feel so inadequate. And I'm finally realizing that those are all demons that I have to deal with, right? If somebody comes to me with a grievance, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm wrong. It just means that what I attempted to do was not received in the way that I intended for it to be received. As long as I know what I'm doing is with the best of intentions, then we're all good, right? And it's just a matter of saying, okay, well, this is what we can do better next time. Throughout the holidays, just stay encouraged, and if you're dealing with a lot of pressure, be it from family or friends or whomever, just remember that your opinions of yourself is what matters. Your intentions are what matter, and somebody else's opinion of you isn't real. I just had a really awesome revelation for myself, which may seem really simple. Maybe it's not something that anybody else struggles with, but maybe it is. So that revelation had to do with not getting overwhelmed with the learning process. I know for me, I get overwhelmed very easily, and that's something I have come to terms with. But recognizing that now, I'm able to do do what's necessary for me to not get overwhelmed, right? Simple as that. So for me, I know if I lay too many things out in front of me, I'm so quick to not do anything, because I then get in a position where I'm like, well, there's no way I can get all of this done. Let me just ball up in my little cocoon, go away and hide for a little bit until my brain figures out how to do it all. And I've had to tell myself that you don't have to do it all, especially not all right now. It doesn't all have to get done at this very minute. And I've applied that now to the learning process and not being overwhelmed by that. I've noticed that, especially with my creative brain, it's that I see one book that I need to read because there's so much information in there, then I'll see another book that I need to read because there's so much information in there, and I'm just going back and forth, and next thing you know, I haven't read any of it because I've overwhelmed myself with that process of learning. And the conclusion I've come to today is that I don't have to learn it all today because I have the rest of my life to learn. What I told myself today is that if I dedicate one new learned thing to every single day, how much is that in a lifetime? I don't have to, you know, complete that learning process all in one day, all at this very moment, and then feeling overwhelmed by the fact that I haven't learned what I thought that I should have learned today, and therefore tomorrow's gonna be a big abyss of nothingness. It doesn't work that way. But for my brain, that's how I was registering to me. And so today, when I just realized that I have every single day of my life to learn something new, why am I trying to learn it all right now? The reality of the situation is I'm never gonna know everything. I'm never gonna learn everything. I'm never gonna get to all of the things as far as the learning process that I set out to get to. All I can do is do my best. You know, I'm only one person, you're only one person, and so if you can't do it all, you can't do it all. I love one thing that we say at the end of our choir rehearsal is that, I can't remember it verbatim, but it basically says, I'm only one person, I can't do everything, but those things that I can do, I will do. And it's just that simple, and the leader of our choir reminded me of that on Sunday, and I thank him so much for that. I used to take those little things for granted, but when he said it again, I was like, that is so true. I'm only one person. And so why overwhelm myself with trying to figure everything out right now when that's not how this life works? Wouldn't I have a much more fulfilling life if I dedicated every single day to one new thing being learned, and then throughout the process of my life, I continue to pick up new skills, I continue to evolve? If I get it all today, how boring would the rest of my life be, right? So I'm just so thankful for that revelation. It may seem small, it may seem minute, but it really helped me to gain a lot of peace today. We's about to attempt to sing.
We're gonna try it.
Except for there's ambulances and fire trucks. It'll make for a more interesting scenery, eh? We'll see how this goes. Ambulance.
Right here.
Okay.
Okay. Get in. Get on in.
Are you getting the lights though?
Yeah, I got it all. Like, we're all in there. It's like a big shop.
Hark the herald angels sing, glory to thy newborn King. With angelic hosts proclaim, Christ is born in Bethlehem. Hark the herald angels sing.
Hello, and thank God for Friday. I have had such an interesting week. Good nonetheless, but very interesting. I'm glad that some rest is on the way. Yesterday, I woke up out of bed and my body was like, girl, what do you think you're doing? And I said, I don't know. And I called in and I went back to sleep because that's what my body told me to do. And I'm learning to listen to it. I literally could not move, and I'm so glad I took the time to rest because I really needed it, and everything I needed to get done still got done. So cheers to resting and still being productive. There we go. This week was good. We got to do some singing downtown Riverside. They have the Festival of Lights every holiday season, and so myself and a couple friends just took a camera down there and decided to do some carols, and it was really fun. Thank you, Miranda.
Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel, and ransom captive Israel.
It was really awesome. It was a good experience, and just to kind of be that shameless version of yourself, stealing from another really cool channel that I like, Shameless Maya, how she just talks about shamelessly promoting yourself and not being ashamed or embarrassed of what you do and putting it out there and being forthright with your gifts and not hiding behind them, but letting them come first. So it was really cool. It was a really good experience, and I'm glad that we did it. I'm glad that I was a part of it. So it was really awesome. Thanks to my awesome friend Joshua, who asked me to be a part of it. So it was really, really cool. I have a couple of the videos on my Instagram and on my Facebook, so you should go check them out. It was really interesting because, you know, so we're 3 artists here singing, right? And all the while we're giving each other compliments and we're telling each other how great, oh my God, you're so great, oh my God, you're so great. And all the while we're receiving compliments, we're not very good at receiving them. And anytime another friend would say, oh my God, what you just did was so great, we would find a way to downplay what we did. And then we would find a way to shift that into telling them, no, they were great, instead of just receiving the compliment. And so by the end, I was like, not fussing, but telling one of the girls, like, if you don't own your talent, like, you are awesome, you are amazing, like, own it. And all the while I'm sitting there thinking, like, dang, I'm getting compliments and I'm not owning it either. It took me a while to come to terms with really appreciating my voice. I think for a long time I always wanted to sound different, and people would always say, oh my God, you have a beautiful voice, but I never appreciated it. I never really liked it, to be honest. I didn't think I could do all the things that other people could do vocally, not realizing that what I do vocally is what I do best. And it's still a learning lesson for me. It's still something that I'm working on accepting and appreciating. It's something that comes up daily that I have to remind myself that no, what you have is for you, and it's good enough, and it's perfect for what you do. What you do, somebody else may not be able to do. And it's so interesting because we always want what we don't have, right? I'll wait for this trash can to pass and stop interrupting me. We always want the other person's talent. I always wanted to be able to do riffs and runs, and I've come to the conclusion that that is not my jam. That's not what I do. That's not in my vocal wheelhouse. But guess what? That's okay, because what I do, other people are looking at and saying, wow, we wish that my voice sounded like that. And it's so interesting to hear that. But it's so interesting to really sit there and think that, like, we always want what we don't have instead of just appreciating what God has blessed us with personally. So I'm working on that, and I'm going to challenge you guys to work on that, especially as artists. I think we're so self-deprecating because we're so hard on ourselves, and it's always a comparison game instead of just loving and appreciating what you have and really shamelessly putting it out there and, you know, letting it lead, not being ashamed to say, this is what I do and I'm good at it. And so I'm working on that, and I want to continue to work on that and be better at that. And I want to continue to be better at receiving compliments and just saying thank you and being okay with it, you know? And I'm going to keep throwing the compliments out there and making sure that I encourage others to receive them as well. Humbly, of course, but still receiving them and acknowledging the fact that somebody took the time out to compliment the gift that God has given you. That's a big deal. And so I want to be receptive of that, and I don't want to push those things away anymore or hide from them anymore. And it just really opened my eyes to that the other night when we were all singing, because we were all doing the same exact thing to each other and to ourselves, until I was finally like, why do we always do this to ourselves? Like, we are the worst. And I don't want to be that. I want to be gracious in accepting the fact that somebody saw the gift that God has given me. And I want to be gracious in sharing with somebody else the gift that God has given to them. I wanna go see the Christmas lights.
La, 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 la. That was horrible.
That's going in there. Yes. Dance, Sasha. Sasha. Hey, Sasha. Hi, sister. It's a vlog takeover by Aubrey's Cakery Bakery. Link in bio.